New tonight at 10, we continue our series about the impact of human trafficking. The FBI office in Little Rock says 90% of the trafficking cases they work are sex trafficking.
In the last year alone, just one local organization in Northwest Arkansas has helped more than 160 kids that have been victims of sex trafficking. It's a very hard topic and not one many want to discuss. But today, we are doing just that.
5 News anchor Tiffany Lee shares the story of one local advocate and how she's using her story to bring awareness and help those in similar situations. Now, we do want to warn you, some of the details may not be easy for some to listen to.
I was in kindergarten or first grade when the sexual abuse started.
Amanda Pulley grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania.
I experienced a lot of sexual abuse from various different family members throughout my life.
At 14 years old, the abuse stopped, but 2 years later, it started again at a place she felt safe.
I met one of my traffickers when I was 16 years old.
It was at the church she grew up in, a leader in her youth group.
He took an interest in me. I'm sure he saw the vulnerabilities that I had, and he was one of the people that I looked up to in the youth group.
At first, the 28-year-old man was like a big brother to her.
Everything was normal for a while. We would go do fun things. He taught me how to do donuts in the snow and how to drive his truck and, just normal 16-year-old things.
But things started to change.
I didn't really have the choice of what to order when we went out to eat anymore. He was telling me what I had to eat.
And the control only got worse.
He forced me to skip school one day. I was that nerd who loved to be in school, and so he forced me to skip school and took me to a hotel.
That's when the abuse started.
And told me that he was teaching me how to provide services to pleasure men.
When people started to notice the two's relationship, she was the one that was punished.
I had to stand there and apologize, and at the end of it, they kicked me out, as well as I had went to a Christian school, and so I actually got kicked out of my Christian school.
So at just 16 years old, Amanda was no longer allowed to step foot in her school or church. And in the meantime, her dad reached out to her out of nowhere.
I missed my dad from the day he left when I was 3 and really wanted him in my life, and I was so excited to find out that my dad had moved back to the area.
Her dad invited Amanda and her boyfriend, the 28-year-old youth leader, to his house.
There was that piece of me that was like, this is my dad, he'll protect me. That's not really what happened at all.
But instead of that protection, her dad connected with her abuser.
And my dad began trafficking me out of his trailer.
Amanda was not allowed to leave the trailer.
If I was given any money, it was their money, and that there were certain requirements I had to fulfill around providing services to a certain standard.
But after about a year, Amanda found her way out, seeing her keys on the table for the first time.
It was as if I heard this voice that said, go, run now. And I ran.
She was left alone, grabbing the keys and heading to her grandparents' house.
The only thing I thought was, my grandpa knows this isn't me.
Her grandpa helped her find protection, and in it, Amanda homeschooled herself, finishing high school.
I had all these dreams of going to college and being the first person in my family to graduate. I had all these aspirations of things I wanted to do with my life, and I felt like he took everything.
But the abuse she experienced didn't stop her. She worked and paid her way through college.
It took a lot of years to be able to understand what happened.
And during that time, a lot of self-discovery.
I had to learn how to trust myself.
And even though trafficking started from a man that she met in church, she says her faith is what got her through.
When I realized that God loved me for who I am, that he saw me, and that it wasn't based on anything that I did or didn't do, that he's proud of me just because I exist, and he loves me because I exist. It really did change my life.
Amanda is now a wife, a mother, and an advocate for sex trafficking victims.
to anybody who is experiencing that you do have worth, and that there is hope to get out. There are people who understand and who will walk with you through that journey, and they'll remind you on the days that you don't feel like you're worth it, that you are worth it because you exist.
If you or someone you know is or has been a victim of sex trafficking, there are resources to help. You can start getting help by calling the National Human Trafficking Hotline. The number is 1-888-373-7888. Covering news where you live, Tiffany Lee, 5 News.